What's good, people? This is the Option Podcast. This is episode 172. It ain't a Schwang, or maybe it is a Schwang. That guy looks like John Schwengel. We're going to find out in a minute. The episode starts right now. What's up, John?
What's up? Glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Guess who's back, people? You have asked, and you have asked, and you have asked, and now you shall receive. Because I got to do it, because it's John in the house. Ready? I've got to give the people what they want. Dun, 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 dun. What's up, brother?
What's up?
Cool, man. Just came from practice?
No practice today. We flew back in yesterday from Texas. We were out in Houston playing the Third Coast, AVP Big Money tournament.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Talk to me about that. What's that? What was that about?
Well, yeah, we got into Miami. A bunch of stuff happened. We didn't end up going to Miami. We got in 3 days before. Some stuff happened. We weren't able to go. And then we were planning, the plan of the trip was to go to Miami, hopefully qualify. If not, hit that Texas tournament on the way back. And then wasn't able to go to Miami. And then we just ended up, I wasn't able to make my flight on Wednesday. And then we just went to the Texas tournament, and that was it.
What part of Texas?
Houston.
And what was it?
Third Coast. It's they have a different name every year. It was an AVP Big Money tournament. Devin did the math on it. He thought it would be good points for us. He told us that we should go out, or told me that we should go out there. So we went. We tried it. Third Coast. You ever seen that place before?
Yeah.
Awesome.
I was doing a documentary last year called Club Coach.
Okay.
And I hit up 15 different cities. Yeah. Drove. Started from Phoenix, South Texas, New Orleans, Nashville. You know where John Hyden's at, and Chicago, Wisco, Utah. Denver for that AVP. I think I saw you there.
Totally.
Wow, that was a great. I think you were beating Jeff and was it you were playing Jeff and Chris Vaughn or something like that in Denver or something like that? It was crazy.
No. That was me. That was me and Rice. You
and Rice. Yeah.
We didn't qualify for that one.
You look good though. I came in. Maybe I should have stayed. I could have been your good luck charm.
Seriously.
Wasn't Denver cool?
Denver was cool. I like that. I'd never been there before. Yeah. I like the spot. But Third Coast, dude.
Yeah, tell me.
I don't know if there's a better venue in the country for bar volleyball. You know,
night lights.
It's perfect. Night lights, the TVs, the fires,
and that's in Houston.
Seating. Yeah, Houston. It's awesome. It's really, really awesome. And they do a really good job of running the tournaments out there too.
Texas has become the de facto California for at least for indoor, right? If you look at the club scene for beach, we're both beach coaches and we're both indoor coaches, and now it's when you see a team from Texas, you see 4-3-2, you see 6-9-2, and you're just like, man, girls, hey, pack a lunch.
Yeah. It's not the same as the other states, right? Where you see the Missouri club or something like that. And you're like, all right, let's see how they are.
Let's see how they warm up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Texas, they're legit now.
I think as a club coach, we have to have an innate ability to diagnose on the spot, watching people warm up, right? Because some of them,
100%.
Yeah, especially for juniors, you watch someone warm up and you're like, "Heavy, what do you know about these girls?" Your coach is like, "So, coach, what do you know about these girls?" And you're just like, I don't know.
you know what's the funny thing about that is as a coach too, you're always telling your players every single time, right? Who cares about their hitting lines? So what? They bounce a ball. So what? So what? So what? 9 times out of 10, though, team with the better hitting lines is usually really better, right? You're watching the team and you're like, oh man, we're screwed. And then you're going to tell the girls we'll make it so they can't pass, and they can't do that.
Yeah, you're telling the players what coaches are really thinking while we're saying something else, right?
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
I don't let that bother you, you know. And I think we as coaches do that because how many times and you, John, you and I, we've coached really, really good programs. We've coached average programs, right? And so we've been on both ends of the stick. How many times have you been on a team and you watch the other team warm up and some of your players already lost, before the match starts?
For the funny thing for girls is it's not, because I'm only doing girls now. I haven't done boys in a year or two. The boys are usually the ones who will watch the hitting lines and be like, oh God, because what what are guys there to do at a club tournament? You know, other than
Except
just
hit.
like bounce balls. You know, that's like they're looking forward to the hitting lines more than the games. But the girls, it's usually even before the hitting lines, like, oh God, we're playing T Street, or oh God, we're playing Wave. You
Right.
know? The hitting lines, at least for me, it hasn't been the biggest thing. It's more just the caliber of the club, or like they've heard of the team before or something, or they're a little bit nervous beforehand.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like being on clubs where the girls are unassuming. Right now, I'm with LA Volleyball Club. Right. We only have really one or two teams for each age group or whatever. And actually, Red Rock was cool because we only have 2 14s and both teams made gold.
Awesome.
So, and that's rare, right?
Yeah,
like you
totally.
see SCVC and two teams make it. You kind of get it because it's like 8 of them or whatever.
Yeah,
but,
seriously.
But some really shout out to Kamalu, shout out to Jason Olive, an old head you may or may not know. Shout out to our personal trainer. Just a great. One's a developmental team and one's like.
Yeah.
The one's team has one of the best 14-year-olds I've ever seen. A setter.
Okay.
I've never seen anyone like that. She has this European release.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because most kids, you teach them to dish it a little bit because you're trying to teach them a fluidity teaching tool.
Totally.
But this
And that's
one,
what I
but
like
this
to do
one's
too,
just
yeah.
flinging it, dude. Just
Interesting.
yeah, just decent height,
Yeah.
very slim, very cool headed. So, I want to go back to Texas.
Yeah.
I want to go back to Houston because I veer off, and I'm sorry about that.
No, you're good.
So the venue's got night lights. How many courts? Like three, maybe.
Oh
or
no.
two?
They've got.
Oh my God, it's
gotta
like
be
Sandbar,
10
huh?
or more. 10
yeah.
or more. Yeah.
You ever been Sandbar in Dallas?
Yes, I have.
Yeah.
Just once, but I've been there. Yeah.
That's
that place is big.
great.
Sideliners, San Antonio. That's probably my favorite place to play in Texas.
Nice.
The courts aren't quite. It's still a very nice place. Not quite as like nice as Third Coast, but the competition's always the best. The money's always the best at Sideliners, San Antonio.
How'd you guys do out there?
Not great. Big guy had body problems. It was freezing cold, and he
yeah.
got hurt in like our third match, and then we ended up playing 5 or 6 and like kind of making it work. But struggling. But other than that, things were great. Like we, did you know I got really sick for a while. I was really sick. And this is kind of like my first tournament back, and since being that bad, and it was like just really reassuring to see like my body can handle it now, and I'm back. Yeah.
Tell everybody what happened. I mean, you could reveal whatever you want, but this is the This is the option.
I'm just I'm not
podcast,
trying to
man.
take time from
Well, it's about
your
you.
stuff, but yeah. So starting like June, July, August, somewhere around there. It's hard to tell when I started to get sick because it went like really gradually and slowly at the start, but started getting like really easily fatigued. Had a lot of trouble eating. Really bad like headaches, migraines, stuff like that. Every day. It started not that bad, and I thought I was just like I needed to manage my hydration or something like that. Kept getting worse and worse and worse right after Huntington, which was our last tournament of the year. It started to get pretty bad. I lost a ton of weight. I lost like 25 pounds. I was just like shedding weight.
Oh my God,
And
you are already thin.
You know me. I can't afford to lose
What?
that. Yeah, so I'm usually like
give me that disease,
yeah, seriously.
dude.
Yeah. So I'm usually running at like 165. I got down to like 140. I was just skin and bones.
Right.
It got to the point too where like I couldn't really play. It was making me too fatigued, and I'd go coach a club practice at night, and I'd come back to my
exhausted,
apartment.
like
and
nothing
I just felt like I played a tournament.
Right.
And I was like, oh my God, I can't. I'd get tired sitting down doing homework. I'd get like physically fatigued. It was very weird. Was going to the doctors every week, getting blood tests every week. Nobody could really figure out what was going on with me. They were pretty convinced it was something autoimmune, but still they don't really know. They found out that I was hypothyroid. So then to just try to fight that, I went gluten-free. Started feeling a ton better. Then I started experimenting with my diet a lot. Went completely like grain-free. So that's like no bread, no rice, no pasta, no anything like that.
There's a big lie in America about grain, but
Totally,
let's
the
stay
carb-heavy
focused.
diet, yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny, like what you're talking about. That's what I was, because I was going to the doctors every day, and then I'd just come home and I'd be online, be on YouTube, be everywhere, just trying to figure out things for myself. Because when I go to the doctor every day and they're saying, yeah, we still don't know. And I'm going back home with no answers. Like, that's just what I'm going to do. I'm going to research it myself.
Good for you.
So then eventually, like after a lot of experimentation, I just went completely grain-free, high-fat diet. And now I'm basically only doing beef, veggies, fruit, milk, and eggs. And that's
So quasi keto.
Yeah, and that's like that's the whole diet. And after doing that for about a month, everything just completely fixed itself. And I was doing the milk and eggs a lot, so to get the weight back up, you know.
And eggs are a great fat burner, dude.
100%.
Like in the top 10 fat burner, I think eggs are like 4 or 5.
Yeah. But yeah, it all fixed itself. The diet, like, figured it out with the diet. I guess I was just like incredibly allergic or intolerant to gluten and grains or something like that. But yeah, I'm so glad they still don't really know. That's like kind of our assumption as to what was wrong, but they still don't know what was going on with me.
But
it's all fixed.
Dude,
now.
there's some effery going on with like the grain and bread items, particularly on this side of the West Coast, right? Like
100%.
I've eaten pizza my entire life and never got fat.
Yeah.
And I come here and I have like pizza and I feel fat. So maybe it's a soft water, hard water thing. But getting back to what you were talking about, I don't know if you remember, like a year ago, I went on the carnivore diet.
Did you?
Yeah, because something you and I both like to do. It's our body, you know.
Totally.
Crimes against ourselves. You know.
No, so
I'm committing it.
Yeah, I was when I was telling you, I was doing all this experimentation. I was vegan for about a year, like 2 or 3 years ago. But I tried vegan again, tried carnivore, and I did one right after the other, which was pretty like extreme. So I went straight from vegan.
You're
I was
insane.
and I was like,
you're insane.
Yeah. Well, I mean, hey, I was feeling so bad. I was trying everything that I could, but I literally went vegan, carnivore. Carnivore wasn't working. I tried lion diet. You ever heard of that?
I have.
Carnivore, just way gnarlier. Because that's just beef, salt, and water.
Oh,
that's lion diet.
That's unique.
And then from there, I went to a buddy of mine. He really recommended for me raw milk. You know, unpasteurized raw milk. Because I can't do dairy in general. If I drink whole milk, I get sick. But then I drink raw milk and I feel great.
There it is.
So then I started with the raw milk a little bit, loved it, and from there the gears started turning a little bit. Going from because before that I was really high carb, really high protein, low fat. Kind of what they recommend, you know. And then I switched to kind of lower carb, high fat, high protein, and just started feeling amazing. So much more energy, so much more satiety, so much just everything really improved.
Well, the high protein, high fat is important for athletes because one, when you start it, you have to give your body a couple of days, if not a week or two, to assimilate to what it's getting fed and whatever. Yeah. And when that happens, all of a sudden your energy shoots to the roof. All of a sudden you can do a Magic Mike show in Vegas and drive to the tournament the next day, and you're like, that's all you got? What else you got? So for me, the month of March last year, a year ago, I did a carnivore diet. I had someone on the podcast.
How'd you feel?
2 guys. One guy's named Dr. Bart K. He has 4 advanced medical degrees, but he's the leader of the meat militia. He's got the military helmet, everything. Yeah. And then another guy who wrote a book called How Rheumatoid Arthritis Was the Best Thing That Happened to Me. He was on a slew of medications, and then he went to Dr. Bart K. Yeah. And he did carnivore only, and the rheumatoid arthritis went away. And the doctor was like, you have to stop this diet. You need to go back on the medications. And he told the doctor, hey, nice meeting you.
Totally.
I'm out of here, right? Because like you said, we, the patients, have to know what's right and what's whatever. Yeah. I understand that the people that are more advanced as far as the science and the biology behind it, but we ain't got time for that. We can only have time to know what works and what doesn't.
Well, I think everybody's different too. You know, like different diets are going to work for different people. I don't think it's really cookie cutter. Like you eat this, you're going to be healthy. You know, people have different backgrounds. They're coming from different places that have very different diets. You know,
dude, I lost 11 pounds that month. My energy shot through the roof.
Yeah, right.
It was amazing, and it wasn't the lion diet. It was beef. It was, and I made my own steak. You know, go on YouTube. You know how to marinate and make your own steak. Salmon, which was a great source of omega-3. Yep. Also, like, I don't know if you know about the East Coast, like New York, 2/3 of the population is low vitamin D, but the same thing's not California because they get their vitamin D and they get their outdoor activity more months out of the year. So that just makes science notwithstanding, that makes historical and chronological sense, right?
100%. Yeah.
And I became a little neurologically addicted to pasta. We kind of went back to the other things, but this month I'm back on it again. I just, I'm like, why am I eating that giant pretzel? Because my daughter's, I'm a Bruise Hall, right, with my daughter,
Yeah.
and that something blew up on the internet about that. I'll tell you about later, but
Okay.
it's hilarious, and I'm like, that's not something I ate in New York.
Yeah.
And the bread out here sucks. So what the hell am I doing? So,
Yeah, right?
but the only thing you need to be careful of, just from someone who speaks from experience, and I
Yeah.
also worked in a cardiology practice for 17 years, and I also used to weigh 265 pounds. So talk about experiments and talking about
totally.
finding out where it works or whatever. For the people who go on carnivore diets, please make sure you get your source of vitamin C, because anthropologically speaking, we as human beings used to be able to reproduce our own vitamin C.
Not anymore.
But like 700 years ago, I think, or something like that.
The only
like,
animal on Earth that doesn't produce its own vitamin
yeah,
C.
but we used to.
Yeah.
But something happened. We became codependent on it like a few hundred years ago, and then they had kids, and now it's gone. So then that's again.
See, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't know that we ever did. I knew
We did,
I
yeah.
knew now because I'm eating tangerines like I
Yeah.
don't know, like they're peanuts. You know,
That's
just like
important.
every day eating a
Yeah.
ton
So
of
that
them,
was
but,
so
I didn't know
for
that we
people on the
did at some
carnivore
point.
diet, you pretty much get everything you need from that. Iron, right? Omega-3,
Oh, yeah.
this and that, but really, really make sure you take care of your vitamin C.
Totally.
And you don't have to worry about the acidic process if you're like doing something like John Schwengel's doing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty cool.
Well, and yeah, I think at this point too, I think the kind of the healthiest thing that I like to recommend to people, like since I tried everything, and is just like whole food diet. You know, just whole foods, and you'll be. It's really hard to be unhealthy unless you have like allergies or something like that. If you're doing like whole food.
It depends on where you live. Like if you live in
100%,
Harlem,
yeah.
if you live in Harlem, it's easy to be unhealthy, right?
Totally.
Like 50-cent soda is gonna cost less than, you know what I'm saying, 30
Yeah.
calorie Tropicana,
Yeah.
or like Tropicana 50, the light one,
Yeah.
which has like I think 8 grams of sugar instead of 34.
Yeah.
So, like a salad in New York will cost you $8, where like McDonald's, the McChicken, you know what I'm saying, the double
100%.
cheeseburger is only going to cost $2. So,
Yeah.
so I guess you are right. If you're in this right setting, the fruit stand, wow, apple.
Yeah.
Get my boron on, my vitamin C and my boron on for that's the only fruit that has boron. I think that's a high source of boron too. So, how you like them apples?
Yeah.
Nutrition facts by 2 volleyball players. Who knew? I'll tell you who knew. People that follow this podcast.
Yeah.
John. Yeah. So funny thing that happened. I had dinner with my daughter Saturday, and I was just trying to make a joke, and I said, I have a confession to make. When my wife's not around, I'm hanging out with a hot blonde, right? So, and everyone they read the words, and they see the picture, and they see Braxton, and just, oh, he got me. But like one of my friends is like, oh, that shouldn't, that's not cool. You're sexualizing the child and all that stuff. And I'm just like, and you can see John's face right now on the camera, like,
Yeah. Everybody's got something to say about it.
I know, but I just think that. I guess I want to move on to volleyball, but I just want to convey to our audience, sometimes telling a joke is all that it is. It's just a joke. And it's one of those things where collectively, if we can all laugh together, then that's fine. If someone has a problem with a joke, I don't cancel them. I engage. But if they're still kind of set in their ways, I'm like, all right, it is what it is, But I think satire is important, Like
well, it's all intention, right?
Yeah.
It's all the intent, like knowing you and everybody who knows. Like I'm sure 95, 99% of the people who know you and saw that were like, that's a joke. Whether they thought it was funny or not, like
no,
that's a joke.
Got 100 likes. I mean, yeah.
And then it's like, I don't know. Everybody's got something to say about everything now. It seems like, and it's just like it's your thing, and you can laugh at everything else, but then it's your thing, and it's like, oh, that's not funny.
And I think the whole reason why we're hypersensitive as a society, because if someone's even thinking that you're sexualizing someone that's that doesn't even know what the hell, 6-year-olds, they don't even know if they're boys or girls. They're just kids,
Exactly.
And for me, I wasn't doing that. I was objectifying.
Yeah.
And I'm not a sexualizer. I'm an objectifier, which I do so unapologetically. If I see a hot girl, I'm going to call her out. Doesn't mean I want her. It's nothing to do with sex. I see I'm sitting across from a hot dude. I think you're hot, dude. But I don't. That's not sexualizing because I'm a straight boy. Okay, I'm just not blind.
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay, you guys kind of got same of the hair. Same. Was your hair white when you were younger?
Oh yeah.
Were you a towhead?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
It was bright bleach blonde white.
Did you know what a towhead was growing up?
No,
did
you?
you?
No, I never
Nah,
heard
did you
that.
find that term later?
Yeah, totally. I heard it. But...
Kerry Waltz called my kid a towhead, and
Really?
I was like, I said, Casey, come here for a second. I said, what's the problem?
Yeah.
No, towhead. No, it just means, and I'm like,
Oh, dude, that's hilarious.
I'm like, Kelly, you ever heard of that? And Kelly's like, no, and I'm so we found it on the internet.
Yeah, at an Urban Dictionary.
All right, enough about all this volleyball.
Yeah.
One of the things I wanted to make sure I talked about was you guys, you over the last, let's just use the last 2 years as a sample size.
Mm-hmm.
So many partner changes. Some of them are cool and some of them leave you scratching your head. Me as a personal fan of the sport, not of players, because I'm not a fan of players. I'm a purist.
Mm-hmm.
But my two of my three favorite players are playing together. Trevor and Theo.
Yeah.
So I'm like, you guys did that for me, didn't you?
Yeah.
You did that for me. So here we are 2 years later, right?
Yeah.
One of the first times I saw the two of you together was I was coaching Jeff Samuels, Manhattan Beach, 2021.
Mm-hmm.
A game that you could have won, a game that you probably should have won in retrospect. We're both looking back and just being honest.
Yeah.
And that was Manhattan Beach, 2021. Here we are, 2023.
Yeah.
Trevor's playing with this guy. Try's playing with that guy. Taylor's playing with Taylor. This guy's Phil's a hitman for hire. John Sutton's the luckiest guy in the world, right? And at the end of the day, who do you have? You have Kristen Nuss and Taryn Cloth. And Schwengel and Berkey.
Yeah, right? Yeah, that's funny.
Talk to me about the process of understanding the roller coaster ride of men's beach volleyball. And sometimes you have a bad tournament, it makes you question the partnership. Like, should we keep going or do you get to this point where we have a decision to make? Walk me through the beginning of it.
Yeah.
Walk me through. Sorry guys, it took so long just to get to this, the volleyball stuff, right? So walk me through like the beginning of the relationship. How'd you guys get together?
Yeah, that's a great question, dude. It's been 3 years now at this point, I think. We were coming out of the lockdowns and of COVID.
Right.
I was lucky enough. My parents, they have a house in La Quinta in the desert.
Let me give you some volume. Go ahead.
Yeah. I was just lucky enough to spend like the whole quarantine and everything in the desert, and we had like a private volleyball court out there just at the park down the road. Got kind of hooked up with like a weightlifting situation. So as far as volleyball, other than like game competition, I didn't really lose anything. I was doing drills and hitting a ton of serves and everything every day.
You might have even gained.
Yeah, probably. I probably got cleaner. Probably got a little bit better. Came out of quarantine. Came back to LA. People were starting to play again, and I just tried to grab somebody as soon as I could and start training. Because before COVID, the last tournament I had played in was AVP Hawaii, and that's when Steve Irwin and I qualified.
Yeah,
and
that was fun.
Yeah, but then he decides to retire right after that and go start making apps and stuff. So as soon as COVID ended, tried to grab a guy as soon as I could. Everybody was talking about Devin Berkey's going to give it a try. Was really good friends with Andy at the time, and Andy kind of like vouched for him because they played club indoor against each other and played a bunch of high school against each other and stuff. I was like, oh yeah, this guy's physical, he's legit.
Right.
So we just started rolling with it. I asked him to play. He wanted to. Started practicing a bunch. Funny enough, our first tournament ever was at Third Coast, the place we just came back from. Devin has some family that lives out there too, so we get to stay with them.
Okay.
Went out to that tournament, did really well in Third Coast our first time, and had a great time traveling together, had a great time hanging out, had a great time playing on the court and everything. And pretty much from then, we just didn't really look back. There was never really a question like who's going to play with who. It was always just we're playing together. kept grinding, ended up qualifying for Chicago 2021.
Gnarly.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah, through phase one. And then to end the season on such a high note is such a helpful thing too, right? And then it's just like, all right, let's
Wasn't
just
just
keep
a
rolling.
high note, dude. That
Yeah.
was educating our fans back home. And let me interrupt you for a second. In 2021, the qualifiers were 2-day qualifiers.
Yeah.
So just talking about levels, because I'm a Bill Parcells guy. You are what your record says you are. So you had like lower level open players trying to survive that first day, and usually whoever survived that first day got consumed or eaten up by some of the guys who could be in the draw, should be in the draw, or not.
Yeah, well, not usually.
And
every time but one.
Yes.
We were the
only team
to win a match on day 2
Yeah.
after coming from day 1, and not only to just like qualify. And
you survived both days.
Yeah,
it was
tough.
gnarly.
Well, so, to be honest, though, something that we were talking about. We were looking at the Miami qualifier bracket, and we were talking about
Yeah.
it, how a bunch of the top seeds got knocked down.
Yeah.
And especially thinking about that venue where it's really hard packed sand, really windy. It seemed to be like head on wind too, like coming from one side to the other, not side to side. It almost puts you at an advantage to have a pigtail match before you play a top seed. And the top seeds going in only practiced and doing drills, maybe even. Maybe they played a little bit the day before, but
Yeah.
so
oh
like
my
talking
God.
about Brad Connors, Joey Osmani.
Yeah.
They played. I forgot who they played. They had a pigtail and go to play Travis and JM, then the one seed in the qualifier. But that's Travis and JM's first time touching a ball that day, and Brad and Joey just fought and won a match, and figured
Yeah.
out what's working for them in that wind. Figured out
the wind, figured out
yeah.
the sand, figured out the environment, the sun. Yeah, just
what they're doing well that day.
that's like
you know what I
5
mean?
extra points. That's like 5 free points.
And then they ended up going out and beating them. But I think there was an advantage to that pigtail on that day, and maybe there was an advantage to us having that day 1 in Chicago too, because it was kind of a similar situation, like really windy, really weird wind too, hard packed sand, and
It only surprised me that Travis and them lost the first round. It didn't surprise me that they didn't qualify.
Yeah.
I wanted you to finish your sentence before I start being a cold fish about people.
No, you're good.
I can go. Sometimes I watch you go on 16th Street because Fish is my boy. Me and Fish go. Mark Fishman, former USA coach, but spent a lot of time on the East Coast. Just
New Yorkers.
But not just that. One of the more beautiful minds, and the best coaches are New Yorkers anyway. We just are, right? Evan Silberstrom, me, whatever. We're all that's a Long Island guy.
Yeah.
It's just like, I don't know. We got 2 educations, man. We're surviving in the street, and then we go, and then ones that go to college end up being like these great people, right? Marv Albert, Larry Brown, Chuck Daly, all Pat Riley, Schenectady, New York, but I watch you guys play in 16th Street. I watch the USA team play on the Strand. I sometimes I'm riding my bike and I'm watching people, and I'll just sit and watch. And I can see by the way they're training. And you and I, the day before, can go to the qualifier bracket and look at this monitor, and I can give you the 4 teams that are going to qualify and the top seeds that are not going to make it. And I am right 7 out of 10 times. A pretty good number.
Yeah.
I knew you were going to be a problem because when I was watching you and Devin train, you weren't cutting corners.
Yeah.
You weren't cutting corners in your training. I'll give you guys an example for everybody listening. Like, who does this guy think he is? I'm a coach. Shut up. But Devin, like if Devin pulls, let's say Devin pulls and gets a dig, right? And the dig goes kind of behind him.
Yeah.
You're not running to the ball and setting this way. You're not running to the ball and taking your forearms and pumping it this way. You're running to the ball. If it has enough height, you're literally making a second move and squaring both shoulders to the pole.
Yeah. Getting around
to eliminate what we call the margin of error, right?
Yeah.
Could you just run this way and fling the ball this way to the pin where he wants it? Yes, you can, because you have mad skills, right? And I think a lot of people at a certain level can. But what you did, making the second move, squaring your shoulders to the pole, you created a diminishing of the margin for error, because now the margin for error is in and out.
Yeah.
And Devin is on the Strand side, so out and in is an acceptable out of system set possibility.
When I'm looking at where I'm setting, and I'm showing him where I'm setting as well, he's not asking for the ball somewhere, but kind of expecting it in a 10-foot range when I'm squaring my shoulders.
And I see something like
convey it
that
to him as well.
I'm sorry to know, but I see
you're good.
something like that. I'm so bad at that. But I see something like that, and I saw you doing that. And then this is again, I was coaching Kyle Ratty and Jeff Samuels. That's who you guys played. That was a day 2 thing for you too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Jesus Christ, dude.
Yeah.
And Kyle's coming and I'm coaching with Jeff, and I'm like, this team is not cutting corners. We have to be ready.
Yeah.
And I told him we have to be ready the second set, because I just think there was a bunch of things we could do first set, and you guys didn't see Kyle Ratty. He literally took off the hard hat, right? Came off the construction site and this and that, and I knew we would just do regular things game 1, but I was like, no, they got real coaching, and I don't want to sound like a hater, but some people are just practicing like bums out there. I'm gonna just say it is. Where's my camera? Bums. Don't practice like a bum. And I was like, these guys are not cutting corners, and what that does in a real game. And I'm gonna give you the floor in a minute, because I want you to talk more about it, because you're the guy on the court. Okay, I'm just chilling.
Yeah.
What that does, it creates a constant pressure in a real game where, like, even the plays you lose, they had to earn that buck.
Yeah.
They feel like metaphorically you're constantly in their face. You know what I'm saying? And they're pushing you away. They're trying to create space, and then you're back in their face again. Then you're back in their face again. And anyone that plays with that kind of style, that's a lot of pressure to play under. Even for the teams who are perceived to be better and heavy favorites to beat you.
Totally.
We were heavy favorites to beat you.
Yeah.
We should have lost that match. We should have.
I agree.
That was 15-15. Maybe I'll even pull it up on the video while I give you the floor or whatever. But I want you to talk to me and talk to our audience, because they deserve to listen to you too, right?
Yeah.
About not cutting corners in practice, staying disciplined, understanding what works, that creates this constant pressure that I conjured up in my own head.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So I mean, I like the way you put it. The way I like to think about it is kind of just like trying to master a system before you start relying on like athleticism or kind of like game flow, something like that. And just every time you pass the ball, it's going to this one spot no matter what. So then the setter kind of knows where it's going to be, and every time they're setting the ball, it's going to this one spot. So the hitter kind of knows where it's going to be. And that's one thing we put a big kind of emphasis on in like the long time we've been playing together, is kind of mastering a system before we start to, be doing shoot sets, jump sets, anything crazy like that. To really just kind of.
I just thought you were absolutely.
Sorry,
no, you're good. To master like the 3-touch, pass set hit, get it really clean, really reliable, and then from there. Kind of start to branch out a little bit, but kind of like you're saying, that constant pressure, like if you get a bad set, hit the ball at Berkey pulling, and he's digging that ball to like a very similar spot every time. It's so routine that it's almost like it's hard to kind of face over and over and over again, and then from there, like obviously you can get to the higher level and start throwing in like options, jump sets, shoot back sets, stuff like that, but that, like you were talking about, kind of trying to master that system was like the first thing we really tried to like put a big emphasis on. And I think we're kind of like we took big steps this off season, and we're playing. I told you, Devin was having a really tough time with his body in Texas, and we got beat by 2 good teams. But I think it wasn't really a good representation of the progress that we've made this last off season, and like the. What we're hoping to do and where we're hoping to be at this season. I think this one's probably been our biggest jump.
Yeah,
this last off season.
I totally agree. Let me see if I can go to the video. My video is doing the little hourglass thing now. It's 14-14.
Okay.
Let's watch it. Let's watch some of this together.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, well, let's go back. Let's go to camera 1. Let's watch that over here. So this is 14-14. Kyle switched to right side because Devin Berkey kind of had his number on the left. What a great swing.
Good dig too, but
I think we hit the net.
Yeah, that's Jeff in the net.
I think shot counts and the foul.
Yep. So
what happened was, I'll give you a little volume. But what happened was we won the first game in rather easy fashion, and you guys made a really, really just good right hand turned in adjustment and left hand press on Kyle Ratty on the left side. So they made this decision to just switch Kyle right side to hit right side, and I'm like, guys, just switch right and then run the back set, right? I mean, the left side is not the problem. Here it is.
That was tough.
So that was that's one, right? It's 15 up, right? And that's when I was like, you got the dig. Let's go back to the dig, because the 4 block switch was great. I don't know if you were just late on the 2, or if that's just how you played it too.
I was probably going.
No, that was a 4. That was a 4.
Yeah, that was a 4.
Look at that. And oh man. Yeah. And when we switched sides, I said you I don't want to curse, you effed up. Yeah. Something like that.
Yeah. Oh, no, completely.
I did. I looked at you when you came and I said you effed up.
Yeah.
You know, because I thought if there was an opportunity to do this, well, what the hell? Let's see how the last 2 plays went. I think it was 17-15 or 18-16.
Yeah, I don't remember.
So Jeff goes here. And you're creating your string out of the middle. Beautiful string creation. Nasty wind. Yanked it back into your left shoulder. And Jeff just, I guess good things happen when you swing. Here's the last one. Oh, wow. Just a nice Chewbacca by Chewy. It's okay. So, but sorry. But I guess what I'm trying to say, and this is just a podcast, and maybe I'm trying to say something. I really, really liked that you guys worked on a system, because that's what you're explaining to the audience, that created this constant pressure.
Totally.
You know, like, and it's crazy because Chicago was right after that.
Yeah, right after.
And then you qualified both days.
Yeah. Right?
When I saw it, all I could do was, where's my phone? Do I have John's number?
Yeah.
Do I have Devin's number? And
I bet a bunch of people were seeing that and trying to like reload the page and be like, wait, they get it wrong. Like,
I think I said, I know your phone's blowing up or something like that, but let me just be one of them. One of the many people to say great job and congratulations. And yeah, I wrote that down. Commitment to each other means something. Usually the first sign of trouble, people are quick to bail, but really you two just needed to beat some good teams.
Yeah. Well,
exhale and then move on with life.
One thing that's really kind of reassuring for us is that there's most of the stuff that we actually struggle with and we actually need to improve on, at least for now. I mean, it'll change later, but is a lot of like non-volleyball stuff, you know, the traveling, being able to, we're much worse at being at our best, no matter where we are in the country. We're not much worse, but I think we struggle with that a lot more than other teams. And I think there's a lot of matches that we lose that if we were to play them at 9 a.m. in Hermosa Beach, you know,
you'd be fine. It's home field advantage.
We'd be fine, and we'd probably win and do pretty well. But then we go and play it out at like 8 a.m. in Muskegon, Michigan. You know, and it's cold, it's windy, the sun's not even fully up yet, and we get slapped around, you know? So I think there's a lot of off-the-court travel stuff. Also, too, like picking and choosing the tournaments. We were struggling to get into Miami, the Miami qualifier, and it was really the first time we had, like, broken down how many points we have, because that's the first time we'd ever been on the cusp of a qualifier. So we weren't even really thinking about it beforehand. We just went and we played all the Tour and Pro Series that we could last year, thinking that that's just how we'd get the most points. We want AVP points. We'll play the AVP tournaments, right?
There it is, yeah.
And then, but then we realized, we're like, oh, wait, some of these tournaments and some of these places we went with, we actually did like pretty well. Somebody got more points than us the same weekend just winning the CBVA in Long Beach, you know? Or
wow.
Yeah, so that was, we've kind of evolved and started to start talking about like strategically picking our tournaments, which ones to go to and which ones
it gets rid of the staleness too, doesn't it, a little bit?
It does, yeah. Well, and it helps us stay like engaged as well. And another problem we had, and I think we kind of are addressing and fixing this year, is training for things as opposed to just going to the beach to train every morning. You know, setting a tournament, planning it early, getting the hotels, the flights, everything as early as possible, and then creating a little like almost like a camp to train for it, and
Right.
figuring out what we're going to do on each day and how to be like 100% ready by that day that we fly out.
Yeah, that's the Brooklyn way. that is you're a West Coast guy, but that's the Brooklyn way, dude.
Totally.
That we and I picked a lot of this up from John Mayer when I was at LMU. You always every drill we went in, we went into every drill with a particular focus, right? Like for a different level example. You're a very high level player, but just like a mid level example. You're going into like a passing drill. Let's call it down ball, free ball. Just hard driven or whatever, and this and that. And I, as a coach, will but tell my players, depending on the age group, pick one of these 3 focuses. Hold your platform, which, by the way, you've improved significantly. You stop jabbing and stop jayhawking stuff. Hold, little dorky thing you do at the end, hard wall, padded wall. Straight and simple. Something John, the first time I heard that term was from him was straight platform, simple pass. And it's cool because it's like a 2-in-1, straight and simple. So now I use that term everywhere. One move to the ball, right? Very rarely, because this isn't indoor, right? You're not going to midline half the balls, midlining requires a second move, right?
Yeah.
So like if I'm coaching you and Devin, go into that drill, pick one of those 3 focuses, right? Yeah. And I, as a coach, any decent coach would see the focus. Yeah. They would see it. You know what I'm saying? They would see your straight and simple. They would see the one move. They would see the hold, the easiest thing to spot. Yeah. So I'm like with other coaches, I'm like, what do you think his focus was? They're like, he's like hold. Yeah. He's like hold. And I just think you'll be surprised. Everyone would be surprised at every level. Just going into these drills, professionals, I like them to arbitrarily pick their own because there's some things that they want to work on where they think they need work. Kids, I give it to them. Yeah. And then at the end of the drill, I'm like, what's your focus? If they go, I'm like, I'm gonna slap the crap out. I'm gonna slap the taste out your mouth, did girl. Nothing, right? don't you me? What was your focus? So, just as a caveat, like that's an example of some things I would do at certain levels, and. Also, as a caveat, that they continue to do at the high level. Like, you ever train with Ali San? You know what I'm saying?
I haven't. I saw he was here a while ago. We didn't get out with them.
Yeah, McLean trained with him a little bit. He said that was just great. And he's like, that's the big guy partner everybody wants their whole life, A bump setter too, right? Don't even use his hands. Yep. Right? Think about that. Yeah. So.
No, I think you're 100% right. We it's similar. We have like our volleyball journal, and every practice before you write the 3 things you want to work on, and then afterwards the 3 things you did well, the 3 things you need to work on for next time.
That's the John Mayer way, dude. Wow.
It's really simple, I think everybody should do it.
You Johns really are awesome. You Johns got it. These John guys got it figured out, seriously. Man. Honestly. Yeah, I did that for 2 years by email. Except with John, it was 5 things. Mm-hmm. Every practice, every game, email. I'd be emailing 5 things, which I like, 5 things I'd like to see improvement on. Okay. And which was great because when I met John, I was still more a pure indoor guy. Yeah. But John was also a pure indoor guy, right? NCAA title with Pepperdine. And we both kind of know the best players, beach players, happen to be the guys who are really good at taking care of first hit indoor. Yeah. Right? Setters, OHs. You were an OH for indoor, right?
OH and libero, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, just it's so easily to translate, like.
100. Well, look at Taylor. Dude, look at Taylor Sander. When he gets a good pass and he's like taking his look at the court and he just even if it's Phil and he just sees one blocker in front of him, what do you think he's thinking? Like, kill. Easy, he's right?
Like, wow, it ain't even my birthday.
Yeah, he's literally used to 2 fills in front of him. And it's a bigger court, obviously, but he's used to 2 fills in front of him putting up their hands. And then even if he only has 1, then that's like
I like watching. I love watching him play. For this one reason. There's some things about him that I could go another way with. I don't like the dude's attitude, but when he gets on the court, his eyes get so big. Like if there's no place in the world he'd rather be, and he just sees a bunch of volleyballs, and it's crazy because you imagine that's how he felt like 10, 13 years ago when he was a pup.
I was literally about to say the same thing.
Going into Anaheim, going into a club and just like being wowed by something you've already seen a million times. And he still has that face,
well, you know what a big thing about it I think is that I think a lot of people, by the time they reach the main draw, they've been like, I don't know how to say it, like almost like beat down by the years in the qualifier, you know?
Yeah.
And then they've kind of just got a little bit more of like a serious, like business-like demeanor. They've been in the qualifiers where like, dude, like, you know the qualifiers, like
They're gnarly.
a couple mistakes and you're on a flight home. You know what I mean?
Yes, good teams.
Yeah, a couple, and a lot of the last rounds of qualifiers, like they should be main draw matches anyways.
Yes.
But
why do you think I'm there for the qualifiers?
I
You don't
think
even
they're
see
more
me on the last
entertaining.
day.
Yeah, I think the qualifier is the
How
most
many-
entertaining day.
All of my friends out there, how many times you've ever seen me on the last day? Probably never. You saw me last year, and that's because the guys from Rockstar and Hanneman or whatever, they're like, Jay, come through. And I thought that was really cool because the guy from Rockstar is like, you guys know each other, right? And they're like, yeah, we know him. And I was like, thanks for that. I appreciate that. But qualifiers, I'm there. I'm there both days because the most exciting matches. The whole concept of win or go home. And everybody's talking about, that guy didn't qualify. He's not a good volleyball player. I'm like, screw you, dude. You have to understand something about the qualifiers. The qualifiers represent the best players of each region. You're talking Pottstown Rumble winners. You're talking Wapaka winners, right? You're talking, we can go on CBVA semifinals and finals
Dude,
winners.
Sarah
guys
Pavin didn't qualify her first time trying for an AVP.
But you know what I'm saying? They represent
she
the
was
best
player
of
in
each.
the world.
But they represent the best of each of their regions.
100%, yeah. Well, like Steven and Peter, they qualified. They beat Lev and DJ in the last round, but they are amazingly good volleyball players, and they just went from Texas to Kansas City. That's just because that's where I think probably just where the money's taking them.
Were you at Motherlode last year?
No, I was not.
Steve played the entire tournament with his left.
Seaside, you're talking about?
No, I was
was
emceeing at Motherlode in Colorado.
Maybe it was both then. But
he was, but he played with John Mesco. And they made the semis, and Steve was hitting with his left, and then they stopped serving him.
Yeah.
He is what you would call a super athlete. Like you put him in a football field, put him on a basketball court, put him at the baseball pitching line, put some skates on him. He's a super athlete, and there's also something to be said about two people who know each other. That has just like the way you and Devin know each other.
Yeah.
That is a leg up on any new team.
100%.
It's just oh my God. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, I was gonna say two things. One, you're right about Peter. or Steven. I'm really close with Steven. Anywhere we go with him, he's doing something crazy. So like we'll just be going down to like hang by the creek or something like that, and then he'll pick up a rock and throw it. Skips like 12 times. We'll just be in the garage like doing a little stretching and maintenance. He'll pick up like a full keg, and that's like tough to lift with because you got to hold it by the rim on each side, and he'll start like repping out like the bench press with it. Steven's gnarly.
I like him.
Incredibly gnarly.
I think we'd both be surprised how well we actually get along. Because when I first met him, he sees me. I'm the guy with the Yankee hat who thinks he knows everybody, right? And I'm looking at him. I see this narcissist that every time a car window reflection shows him, he stops. So I'm just like, there's no reason for either one of us to even like each other. But I like that dude. I like the way his mind works. Yeah. I like his social and political philosophies. He is a very good critical thinker. He really puts anything he posts like if there's any question or debate or whatever subject matter it is, he really puts his critical thinking skills to use, and he's got a great satire mind.
Yeah,
he's got a really fun satire mind. So
funny.
Big up Steve. Big up Steve, and I was really happy to see you. I was happy to see him at Motherlode, and I was happy to see him and Peter do their thing. And I know they're doing some stuff in Kansas City, right? That little club out there.
Yeah, they either started or took over some club. I think Steven's the director, Peter's like the head coach now, and they're just. I think it's all beach, so it's only like half the year out there because it snows, of course. But they moved from San Antonio. They got their thing figured out there for now, I think.
All right, cool. Hey, let's do a lightning round. We're going to talk about hands.
Cool.
Let's put up my 60 seconds. Lightning rounds with John Schwengel, people. Happy about that. Let's do my clock. Let's do the pause. And let's see if it pops. Oh, there it is. Oh, pops up. There it is.
Yo.
All right, John. So there's been, actually as far back as last year, Doc Vandermeer and Jeff Samuels on the podcast talking about the subject of hands being more relaxed. And one of my arguments was they weren't more relaxed. They just stopped people from catching and throwing it. You know what I'm saying? And so I always had this argument like a double's a double. Doc Vandermeer, who's a terrific player. We all know that and highly respected. And his father's a ref, right? Yep. Papa Vandermeer. Samuels.
And brother is a ref,
too. Samuels, the ambassador, the international man of mystery, probably makes more money away from the tour than he does on the tour. Mm-hmm. So 60 seconds. I want you to articulate your thoughts that if the first question is, have you noticed there's been a little bit more relaxed non-calls, referee swallowing their whistles on something you consider questionable hands, and how you feel about the landscape of where hands are going, and boom.
Yeah, good question. I think more. It's so tough to say because every ref is different too, and like the hand calls, more than anything, it depends on just who's up on the stand. Because then on top of that too, there are some refs who have changed and some refs who haven't, and some refs who I'm sure they give their protocol, whatever, they send it out at the beginning of the year, like this is what we're calling, this is the changes that we've made and stuff, and some people listen to it and some people don't. I have noticed that it's gotten a little bit looser on the doubles and a little bit tighter on the lifts, so less catch and throw and more kind of less sticky hands. They'll call like the deep dish stuff, but not too much though. I don't think it's changed really that much since I started playing qualifiers in 2018. I don't think it's really changed that much since then. Maybe the occasional time when you have like somebody on the stand.
Shit, that was our horn.
Oh, that was quick.
All right. So actually, I think I'll go on this one too.
Yeah.
I talked to referee Dave Carson, who I've had on the podcast, and also Jeff Samuels, and Dave and I actually called him in the middle of the podcast, and he took the live call. He was actually in the middle of trying to organize Manhattan Beach and took the call. Stood tall for 20 minutes, answered questions from me, Jeff, and Doc Vandermeer, 3 infinitely different personalities. And he said this, and I'll go to the camera: check with your league. Check with your league, right? If you're in Connecticut and they just judge the set by whole rotation, that's their league, their rules, right? Yeah. CBVA, to their credit, I think implemented it in their rules about redirect or something like that, where it's their league, their rules, and to their credit, they were adamant about just keeping old school, right? Pottstown Rumble, right? You're not allowed to. It's a big court, right? It's side out to 15. Mm-hmm. Hey, their league, their rules. So I don't want to talk about the fairness of it as much as I just want to talk to what the officials and referees, like you said, being explicit of knowing what you can and can't do going into it. Yeah. If you know that, the sooner in fact, sooner is better. Yeah. If you know that before the match, cool. If you know that a day before the match, cooler. You know that before you even travel there, oh my God, cool. Now I get it. But I think I agree, and I echo your sentiments. With the higher level you play, the more it's a non-issue, because everybody's just found a way to just set one way that universally is accepted as the right way.
Well, that, and like there's always like a little bit of debate on like there's always borderline sets. Like, was that a lift? Was that a double? 2 people disagree. You'll never really find 2 people disagreeing on like that was a good set. Right. That's what a set should look like. Whether it's like a little bit deeper, a little bit faster, a little bit more spin. Like, everybody knows a good set when they see it. Yep. And in general, I think most people know a bad set when they see it too. And
well, the no spin guys are the ones that upset me the most, because we have seen really, really good setters, not just at the high level, every level. We've seen setters literally take the ball on their left out of their right, but because they know they've been doing it so long, it doesn't spin. Yeah. So I've seen double hits that are clean. Yeah. And I'm like, so by your rules, that's not a double, but he literally, the guy's hands are like soup bowls, so it's not you didn't miss him doing this, and then that.
Well, the ref Todd, right? Tall, skinny guy. So Todd, I like Todd's philosophy the best, is where, because it's kind of like the only logical way to do it is you can't watch the ball, you need to watch the hands and look for a double contact, and that's how it is indoor. And I think like beach, you could either be like stricter or maybe watch the ball a little bit, but that's what you should be looking for, is a double contact with the hands, and right. Because that's what they're claiming happens if they're calling spin anyways, right?
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, I so agree. Well, indoor, we have a general rule: doubles are not how they come out. That's how they come in, which is also my argument about the spin rule. Who cares about spin or no spin if you're, if the referee's supposed to be watching how it's coming in.
Yeah.
So how it comes out, I guess, is more of a carry, right? Because they're looking for discontinuation or some level of fluidity.
Yeah.
I do love the juniors tournaments, the no hands tournaments, because we're just trying to teach kids to use their hands more. And how are we supposed to encourage kids to use their hands if the referee's going to
That's
blow the
interesting.
whistle?
I haven't heard of that. No hands calls.
Yeah,
That's good. I like that.
I used to work for Duran Forbes.
Yeah.
Don't work for anymore. We still got a great relationship,
Nice.
but. She had tournaments where there were no hands. They were literally no hands. They were called the no hands tournament.
Yeah,
and
I
it was
love that.
and for juniors, right?
Yeah, I love that. That's perfect. That's how it should be.
Yeah.
Well, because I mean, there's so many girls that I coach that are just afraid to hand set, you know, just because they don't want to get called, and on top of that too, they just don't want to create a problem on the court.
And mind you, we're at a time period now where there's more of them.
Yeah.
Right. I'm 52. Go back to. Dude, take a trip back to my memory lane. You only saw maybe one girl.
Yeah.
At the highest level, you only saw maybe Larissa. And everyone else is bump set.
Yeah.
And now, it's everybody.
No, I think that's how all tournaments should be. So, and we were kind of talking about this earlier, how when you were talking about the setter on your team, how she has that just like awesome release. But I like too teaching this may just be my thing, but I do like teaching the indoor girls when I'm teaching them how to set, like the younger girls who are just learning how to play volleyball, is to catch it and throw it, because
it's a teaching tool.
Well, and that's how you develop, like, I catch this ball and I get it there. You're not just slapping it in a random direction.
Right.
You're just slapping it in the general direction of the outside hitter. You're catching it and you're throwing it. And then from there you get a little bit faster, a little bit faster, a little bit faster, and then it's fast, but you're learning control and ball control and how to get the ball where you want it first, and then comes like the minutia of like getting it faster and not doubling and not lifting.
And you have John, you have a great sample size that supports your argument. Look at all of the people. Look at all the people that learn that way who when they reached adulthood and via the collegiate scene or professional scene are just fantastic setters.
Yeah.
One of my favorite setters of all time, Jeff Stork, learned that way. Lefty, I actually mirrored my game after him. I was overseas playing outside hitter, and someone told me you should set. And for 2 years, I would just watch videos of him. So
really,
yeah, you can imagine when I moved here and saw him.
Yeah, that must have been sick.
Oh my God! To him, retrospectively, because it's already happened. To him, when I screamed Jeff Stork, he just goes, "Oh, like oh God."
Yeah.
And I felt like an idiot because as New Yorkers, we're haters. We don't. You can see Madonna walking her dog, and you're just like, "Hey, what's good?" Jay-Z, what's up? Maybe you say what's up, maybe you don't say anything, but you don't.
Yeah.
But you don't scream them and light them up or try to take pictures and all that stuff. And I went straight fanboy with Jeff Stork because it was someone I only saw in the videos.
Yeah, totally.
So, and the Pepperdine guy, so he's cool. Pepperdine guys are cool, right? Jeff Stork.
My best friend goes to Pepperdine. Yeah.
Yep. The cool kid's cool.
Yeah.
Besides Northridge, that's the Pepperdine. Think of everybody that came out of Pepperdine. It's cool. Sean Rooney, right? Mm-hmm. Is that his name? Sean Rooney? Indoor guy?
Yeah.
John Mayer.
Yep.
Nice guy. Marv Dunphy.
Yeah.
Brobster Vertleek. I'm going way back. Jeff Stork. Just, what? All nice guys, So, lightning round question number 2. I know we got a hard stop because I know at some point we got to go and coach club and teach kids how to be great. Teach tiny people how to be great.
Totally.
So, question number 2, we're going to talk about venues. All right.
Awesome.
This question I dropped on Samuels and Doc Vandermeer as well. So I'm doing a little bit of rinse and repeat. Maybe it'd be great for a compilation video someday. So there are some venues that the AVP decided to come back to. New Orleans was quite the hit. Mm-hmm. There were mixed reviews, but at the end of the day, I would say a win.
Yeah.
Coming back to Florida was great. Dave Palm must have been really, really happy because he's been one of the biggest advocates for them to come back there.
Yeah.
Denver, Scott Davenport. Is that Scott?
Yeah.
No, Scott Davenport.
Right. I think so.
No, Scott is the coach. Tom Davenport.
Oh yeah.
Tom Davenport, who runs SOB, South Florida Border Vacations. You should be one of their volleyball guests. It's time. Been trying to get them to come to Denver. So my question is, with 1 minute, I'd like you to pick maybe 3 venues that you would like to see the AVP return to. So let's get the clock going and go.
Number 1, we going? Yeah. Number 1 has to be Hawaii. It was I'm a little biased because I ended up getting in there for my first time. But dude, Hawaii was so fun, so great. New York, that was another one of my favorites too. But back, not the place they did it the last time. Back on the piers.
Yes.
You remember? Like there was the qualifier site, and there's that like like restaurant right there, and you can watch from the roof.
Yes.
Dude, that was my favorite place. That was one of my favorite
in Brooklyn
places
Pier
to ever play
6.
ball. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There, and then last one. Let me think. That they don't have now, and they should bring back is the question.
Mm-hmm.
Seattle.
Seattle's great, man.
Love Seattle.
Nice. You say 15 seconds for the fans to mull over that. Tell me there's something cool about Seattle. You got 10 seconds.
Just how it's different. How it's like a great venue, but just it looks so different. You know, you're surrounded by the green and like the forest, and there's the lake and the mountains and stuff. Like, because that's really what makes it fun. Like, if you're not gonna be going for like different scenery and different stuff, you might as well have every tournament in Manhattan, right?
It's true.
So, but because I love
you were
like
in the
being
draw. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. You and Brewster were in the draw.
No, me and Rowdy.
Oh, Rowdy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Dude, I remember that was so funny. They gave us that because that's when now a wild card is like a normal thing, you know. And there's like 4 or 5 wild cards in every tournament. We were like the first wild card that had been in the draw in like a long time, and dude, people were heated about it, and they were like mad at us.
They need to shut up because you know why? Because as human beings, we have something called and you'll love this because I made up this term, and I'm going to keep using it until people use it. It's called prom queen fallacy.
Yeah.
Prom queen fallacy. You got elected prom queen. Everybody else thought they should have, that this other person should have done it. So instead of getting mad at the voters, they get mad at you.
Yeah, 100%.
They get mad at you. It's called, I call it prom queen fallacy.
Yeah. Well, I remember Rowdy and I, we were having a conversation. We were in our hotel room because we got the hotel, obviously. And we went to the qualifier site on Thursday to like we flew into Seattle. We wanted to check it out, you know?
Yeah.
And that's kind of what the main draw guys do. They go check out the qualifier a little bit, see how the venue looks, maybe touch the ball a little bit, practice.
Yeah, Taylor's always there too.
Dude, we showed up and people like were giving us the cold shoulder. People weren't talking to us. People were coming up and saying like, dude, guys, people are mad at you and stuff. And
you're supposed to say no?
we were sitting in our hotel room that night, like having a conversation. We're like, did they really expect us to say no to an AVP, like to a wild card into an AVP main draw tournament?
But you know why you could give them the finger? Because you can ask every single one of them that had a problem with that.
Would you have taken it? Yeah.
And you ask them for an honest answer.
Yeah.
And if they're honest, if they have an ounce of honesty in their bones, 100% of them would say yes.
Well, you know, it's funny too. Is like speaking on that hypocrisy a little bit. The team that we bumped out was the McKibbins, and
they were the one.
We were like, we knew them pretty well. So the McKibbins, my uncle in Hawaii actually taught them driver's ed, and he like taught them how to drive at Punahou and stuff. So like they had been to my house before I was even like playing AVPs and stuff. So like we knew them. Rowdy, they had coached his club team, his 18s club team, so he was real tight with them. And Madison was a little bit more chill and cool, but dude, Riley wouldn't even look at us, wouldn't even talk to us the entire tournament. They were like pissed about it.
So
but then
yeah, to hell with him. So what?
Later that year, that was the first AVP Hawaii that had been there in a while. And I don't know if you remember, but that was like an international exhibition one.
Yes.
And guess who got a wild card into AVP Hawaii and took it?
You don't say.
The content creators, you know, the brothers, they wanted them there to kind of document it and stuff, and they scooted out Ed Ratledge. He was the next on the line for points. He was planning on going to the tournament, and then it gets announced the draw, and the McKibbins are a wild card for the last seed instead of
Ed was in a tough spot because I think Rafu was coaching NCAA.
Okay.
So they played the whole season together, and they had plenty of draw points. And they had great finish situations in Manhattan.
Was that the year
Beach.
they won, or was that the year before?
No, 2018 was the last San Francisco one, and the last champion was Rafu, and and the year before was Madison. And Ty. Madison hooked up with Ty.
Yeah.
You know.
But yeah, they ended up taking the wild card spot. Me and Rowdy, we were texting about it. We're like, these guys.
And I say respectfully to hell with them because they were in a situation, where they were qualifying machines, and I do admire and salute their work ethic. But you got to admit, as far as training situations and who to train with and when, and that as far as being given opportunities out of the ass to be in the main draw, probably at that time, because their brand was good, no more than those two, right? Both guys went to USC.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Give me a break. Give me a break with that. And you know what? You ain't got to carry the water on this one, because I don't want nobody coming at you. But me, anyone got a problem with what I'm saying, come see me. Y'all know where, and then they know where I live because they used to live over there.
Yeah.
You know? But yeah, Riley's like that. Riley's weird like that. Madison, everything you said, everybody that's met the both of them is like, yep, that's Madison. And then when you said, yep, that's Riley. So they don't have a problem with me saying that, because they already know everyone's saying that about them, because they've earned that in a good way and a bad way.
Yeah.
You know? But let me tell you something. When I first met them in New York, I thought they lived in Brooklyn.
Oh, really?
They had the beards
Yeah.
and they were hip. And I'm like, you guys live in Williamsburg, right? You guys just got on your bike and rode over the Williamsburg Bridge and qualifier, and just so polite. So, you gotta, and I'm not trying to repair this or whatever, what I said, but I'm just gonna be honest both ways.
Yeah.
The grind, and them realizing that they had to embrace the grind to become what they are. I could say what I want about them, but I can't mess with them. I got nothing. In that respect, I ain't got nothing on them.
And just
but talking about how you treat
court,
people, talking about how you behave. If you think I'm not going to come on a podcast named The Option and not say what it is, man, you are sadly mistaken. But I don't want what I'm saying to gloss over, like if you're just a robot and just seeing the actual work put in it and understanding not the odds, because the odds were pretty good. They were always in a good situation to get in. But you got to do it, right?
We were just talking about how tough it is, right?
Yes.
How impossible the qualifiers are.
And they were like qualifying machines, man. It's like those two cracked the code.
Exactly.
You know? So, well,
no, you're right.
They don't need me to give them no shine or sham on them. So I ain't talking about them no more. They gotta know, dude. They are in the catbird seat right now, and they are doing good things to their credit. They're doing good things for volleyball. I mean, are they doing good things for themselves? Of course. I mean, this is a career. You got to do it for yourself. But no one could say that they didn't at least attempt to give something back to the sport that they made it from. So boom,
totally.
and I'll shut the door on that one. From my venues, I'm not gonna go 60 seconds because this is more about you than me, and I talk a lot. I go New York, right?
Of course.
I go Michigan. They're not doing in Michigan, and Michigan was a really, 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 really cool place to be. And Denver, man, I like the intimate crowd of Denver. So,
well, it was cool how it was it was just like weird. The courts were all on different levels, and there's like the concrete everywhere and everything. I mostly like different, you know.
I hope they never go back to Atlantic City, because Atlantic City really ruined the AVP's outlook on the East Coast in that region.
Yeah.
They don't want to go back to New York because they have bad flashbacks.
Yeah, bad.
Of New Jersey. Were you at Atlantic City last year?
Not last year.
But do you know the story behind that? Just the third degree burns.
Yeah.
You have a tournament.
Dude, everybody was crawling around everywhere on the sand. Like everybody was crawling to their courts and crawling to the shade.
Socks.
Yeah.
They had sand socks too.
Yeah.
Jeff Samuels. I talked him out of Seaside, because he played in that and he wanted to play in Seaside, and I'm like, dude, you got points for the draw, and if you go to Seaside, you're not gonna win because your feet look like roast beef right now.
Yeah.
And you probably further injure yourself where you don't get to play them in the Manhattan Beach Open.
Yeah.
Something you got money to show up. You got show money.
Yeah.
So I made him. I literally made him stay at my house because he stays at my house anyway. But I said, just stay here 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Learn how to walk again. Crawl, like you said, crawl to walk to eventually run, and it worked out for him. He felt really healthy and he felt good.
Good.
And we did okay against K-Spear and Allen. Right? First game was 24-22 in a game no one thought we were going to win anyway. But K-Spear and Allen made it to day 3, so that's how they were playing that weekend. They made it to day 3. They made it to Sunday morning.
Totally.
So New York, I would always say New Orleans, but they're going back there. And so New York, Denver, and Michigan. Okay. 3 great venues. I would really love to see that. Wisconsin, I'd love to see them do something in Wisconsin.
Dude,
they're really big.
Wapaka is fun.
Yeah,
I love Wapaka. A lot of people don't like it. Dude, I think it's fun. Like diving in and rolling around in the mud and stuff when you're playing. Like
I think New York is fun.
New York. It's Hawaii and New York were tied for like my.
But
favorite.
you know why I like New York? Because you can go there Saturday, right? And you can go into the crowd and ask people where they're from. Brazil, Russia,
Interesting.
Poland, Dominican Republic. I'm from Korea. It is this ridiculous conglomerate, like California, where you got a whole bunch of white people, you got a whole bunch of guys with the, with the orange tan. But New York, these are people that follow volleyball. I guess more indoor than outdoor.
Yeah.
But at 2019, that was a homecoming for me. So I had a whole bunch of people just come out to say hi to me or whatever. I was coaching Jeff. We lost to the Partains, him and Doc, and I was coaching Rafu, who.
Yeah, and that was Partains ended up losing to
Frischman
right?
and Marciniak. Yeah, but we lost in 3 sets to them. They were pretty good, but it was just great because the international population just shows what the AVP can be if they continue to go to places where there are people that live in other countries that are like AVP, right?
Yeah.
Google search AVP right now, you'll find Alien versus Predator.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
You did it before, right? It's
Yeah.
Alien versus Predator. I'm like, no, AVP volleyball, beach, something, AVP, something, right? Something that gets you there.
Yeah, that's so funny.
All right, so third lightning round question. I want to talk about the NCAA single elimination for women's beach volleyball. Right?
Great
Before
question.
it was 18's double elimination. Now I
Yeah.
think it's 16 and it's single elimination. I'd like you to take 60 seconds and talk about one of the, some of the things you like about it and some of the things you may not like about it. Maybe you feel differently about not having double elimination. Maybe maybe that makes you a little sad or whatever. But talk to me about your thoughts on this year, the first year, and your outlook on women's NCAA beach being 16 teams.
Yeah.
But single elimination.
I love it being 16 teams, it being bigger. I think that just it's something really good for the sport, when programs are able to actually grow and have the goal now of making the tournament, whereas like for other programs that probably seemed really unrealistic. Now it's a lot more, obviously since it's twice as big, it's a lot more realistic for a lot more programs and encourages more growth. So I love that. Getting more exposure on other schools as well, and like seeing different players and different stuff. That's really cool. And personally, I don't play the five team format ever, but I don't see a problem with the single elimination when it's 5 matches to win the duel. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's not like one team has a bad match and then suddenly tournament's done, like an AVP qualifier. You know what I mean? Like your ones doesn't have a good match that one round. 2s through 5s, like they can do their thing. You know what I mean? So, I kind of like it. I think it'll be interesting. I want to see how it works this first year, but because if UCLA and USC are knocked out by like the quarters or something like that, then we might have a problem with it or something. Like if some weird stuff happens,
or not, right?
Or not too. 100%.
If you look at the 6 seasons, right? It's for USC to UCLA, so it's not like they can afford a one-off.
Totally. But my do you know my girlfriend Skylar?
I do. Yeah.
No, she was, because she was at Long Beach at the beginning of this year. She ended up leaving, but she
just leaving or transferring.
Leaving, thinking about transferring right now.
Okay.
So she's looking for a different school. Volleyball is kind of like secondary to it right now, but she wants to keep playing.
So student before the student athlete.
Absolutely, yeah.
Got it.
But like when she was at Long Beach, think about how exciting that was for Long Beach, hearing that it was 16 teams instead of 8 when they just missed the tournament by one place last year. So seeing it from their perspective and like kind of thinking about the other schools, I definitely think it's awesome that they opened up the draw a little bit. And
I'm glad to.
Personally, I have no problem with the single elim. I think it's.
I think
it's fine. It's 5 teams playing.
Thank you.
One team can have a bad match. Even 2 teams can have a bad match. You can still win the duel. Like,
dude,
that's a lot of volleyball.
I know. Let me take a crack at this. I'll go 1 minute. All right, I love 16 teams because within the NCAA, like and the amount of Division I teams, they should have had 16 teams a long time ago. Yeah. I know there's a little good old boys club that sees fit for Stanford to make it every year, and it was unfair to some of these teams that have been doing really well, particularly out of the South, right? Mm-hmm. So now, as far as the 16 teams are concerned, that's a no-brainer, all right? As far as single elimination is concerned, they could do double elimination because anyone that's ever seen an AVP that sees how that works knows that you can do double elimination in 3 days, particularly if you can find a way for the duels to last an hour, which is what they kind of lasted anyway. The duels kind of lasted an hour. Am I right about that?
Yeah.
But as far as them talking about the unfairness of it not being double elimination, wow. Crimea River. Say that to the men's indoor volleyball, right? That only has like 7 teams.
Men's basketball at the tournament too. Yeah.
No, but at least that's 64.
Oh, yeah,
Men's indoor NCAA only have 7 teams.
Yeah.
No, I mean, if that's anyone that should have double elimination, you're only inviting 7 teams. You could have given that, not even given them that. So dial 1-800-WA for like the men if you're looking for empathy. If you're looking for sympathy, look it up in the dictionary. It's between syphilis. Okay, so but I'm with you because NCAA is about single elimination. Yeah, it's not about double elimination. So boom, got it.
Yeah,
let's finish one 60-second. Rapid questions, lightning round for you, and then we are out of here, my man, because you have to be hungry.
Yeah, totally.
Even though carnivore diets, man, hold you over. Carnivore diets hold you over, man.
They do.
It's just awesome.
They do.
All right, so great job about. We didn't have a conversation about taking care of your body, but I think we really covered that. The nutrition,
100%.
The nutrition is like,
it,
dude, we hit the ground running with that one. All right, so ready?
Yeah.
These are all you, my man. Lightning round questions. And go. So, favorite comedian?
Anthony Jeselnik.
Last good book you read?
Power versus Force.
Nice. Pool or beach?
Beach.
Lord of the Rings or Harry Potter? Be careful.
Great one. I grew up on Harry Potter a little bit more than Lord of the Rings.
Devin's gonna drop kick you.
Yeah, no, seriously.
Bourbon, vodka, or tequila?
Tequila.
Favorite sport outside of volleyball?
Great question. Basketball.
Do you miss the scoring freeze or not?
Yes, I like.
You do.
I like.
Favorite action film star growing up?
Liam Neeson.
Nice. Any fun conspiracy rabbit holes?
Everyone.
Where's Ty Loomis for the last 7 seconds?
I love it. Honestly, we just watched Oliver Stone's JFK movie. That's the
movie or the documentary?
The movie.
Because he did the movie in 1993, right?
Yeah.
And then he did a documentary because now all the files came out. There's only like 3% of the files.
Oliver Stone did a documentary?
Yes. It's called JFK Through the Looking Glass. He just did it 2022.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh, I got to check it out then.
You have to, because he does a very good comparative and contrast on the movie, what the movie covered, based on what they knew in 1993, because files came out in 1995, then again in 2006, and then just a huge dump. You had people in the archives library, like setting up desk, just waiting to get, so... it's called JFK Revisiting Through the Looking Glass or something like that. It's
Dude, we're gonna watch that tonight then.
Yeah, do that. Yeah. I when I had Ty Loomis on the podcast, someone asked me to ask him, did Oswald shoot JFK? Ask him a shot, and I said, why? He said, it's fun. He's like that, right? So I asked Ty. I said, did Oswald shoot JFK? And Ty goes, no. He said, so dude, funny. Check your history, man. He was just like, don't even get me started. I was like, wow, a great question. Yeah. So I'm not going to out who told me to ask him, but it's just the same.
That's hilarious.
Okay, so before we get out of here, is there a particular IG or site or whatever? Someone want to know a little bit more what you and Devin have been up to?
I mean, my Instagram's been dead for a while. You can follow me, too. John Schweng, 3Gs.
When I got mine hacked, I was like, keep it.
Did it get hacked? Mine hasn't gotten hacked. I just haven't.
I got friends in low places. I got it back though. I got friends in low places. Okay. They got my back, but sorry.
Yeah, I mean, you can. Hopefully, I'll start posting more stuff again, and we'll kind of get back up to it. Cause that's part of the. Like I was talking about off the court stuff. You know? I haven't posted on Instagram in a year. There goes sponsors for that first tournament. Right?
I know.
So that's another thing. It's just like part of the job a little bit.
I also think from a fan perspective, I don't even think you and Devin have to do anything over the top. I just think
I agree.
just be on camera, being yourselves you guys are interesting enough on its own. And I think you allow the fans to take that journey with you.
Right? Yeah.
But you allow the fans to take the journey with you.
Okay.
You know, some of these things, all of a sudden you get to like a semis and you lose, and then someone in the crowd, you see someone in the crowd crying. You're like, I didn't know that person cared if I did this or not. And they do, because like Baranek was out there being himself. Mm-hmm. Remember him and Bill?
Yeah.
Remember how his crowd started getting bigger and bigger as he started to win all the way to the semifinals? There were people that were sad for him and that were clapping and this and that. And that is great for the sport.
Totally.
And to Eric's credit, and I'm biased, I'm a fan, so I have to say that. I don't have clear objectivity when it comes to Eric. I met him in 2016. It's 2023. He's still Eric. He's not somebody else. The success did not get to him. Success changes some people.
Totally.
I mean, I could be a real name names now, but we're at the end of the podcast. So I'm trying to get you out in one piece. But it's really cool that someone is like that, and then like 6 years later, you can still say they're like that.
Yeah, 100%.
I had you on the podcast a year ago. You're still John. You've always just longer hair, man.
I hope so.
Yeah. But being yourself is good enough for them to for you to remain an interesting person, and for you to allow these people to take the journey.
Oh yeah.
Cool. Yeah. All right. So John might like you, but I don't like you. In fact, I can't stand any of you. So for all of you at home, for all of you on your iPads, for all of you on your iPhones, for all of you on the desktop right there, who runs the world, old school. I'm turning off the live. From my man, John Schwengel, this is episode 172 of the Option Podcast. There you are. And why did I do that? There you are. I'm Jason DeBiss. This is episode 172, and let's hit our music. Stay with me. And we are out of here. Come check out the Option Podcast on optionvb.com. It's also available on iTunes and Spotify, and on YouTube under the NY Varsity Sports handle. You're going to love what you hear.